Hi, this is Ali. How are you? You know, this summer I'm having my vacation for 2 months, the months of July and August. Entirely free, I can do whatever I want. And so I spend a lot of time reading right now. And this year I'm reading a lot of science, a whole collection of books by Isaac Asimov. He's got over 550 titles, and he's really a man who's a wonderful resource for gaining a certain perspective on science, because his subjects are so wide-ranging. I'm reading on things like physics and subatomic particles and all sorts of chemicals of the solar system, chemicals out there in the universe, densities and conductivity and things like that. Just basic science that we sometimes need to read and gain a certain grasp of. Isaac Asimov used to express that eventually people would have access to a personal computer, and that people would be in a situation to pursue their own interest in a very genuine way beyond the classroom, pursue their own interest and continue their education indefinitely. That education did not have a sort of limited period for it to happen, that you can continue to have interest and continue to learn throughout your life, and so he believed in a revolution in education, and he believed in a revolution in access to information, which is of course what we have now. He was predicting the future. And of course, Isaac Asimov, he's very much of a futurist. He's a man who wrote all these science fiction precisely because he had this tendency to use the knowledge available to him and use it to envision future scenarios and imagine future ways of life. So the internet is another source of knowledge for me, and what's happening is that today in particular I was thinking, why all this knowledge? Does it really help me in any way? Does it help me with life? Does it help my existence? And I would say definitely, of course, because in my garden it's important for me to have knowledge, to experiment, and to gain more and more insight as to how to produce more successfully a larger quantity of vegetables and to become more and more independent each year, for example. So knowledge in permaculture is important to me. So I watch a lot of videos in that area. Then, for example, the world around me, the technology, I use technology. I have a computer right in front of my face right now, and I have recording equipment and music equipment, and all of that is technology. And so where is all this technology going? What's going to happen with technology? And so I watch a lot of videos on YouTube about nanotechnology. And then I worry about the situation in the world concerning health and nutrition and the food industry and the health industry and things like that that seem very, very controversial right now and a great concern for human beings. And so I watch a lot of videos on nanotechnology and its applications in biology and medicine, and then of course I run into the issue of the ethics of science and the ethics of applied sciences and scientific knowledge and its possible consequences for humanity. I cannot help but to begin to develop an opinion in reference, for example, to tampering with genes, tampering with little fragments of the gene sequence, and creating artificial mutations. Mutations have always been the source of evolutionary adaptive changes in species, and for us to embark on an accelerated rate of mutations in a short amount of time seems to me very close to what's going on with climate change. You know, all of a sudden we're changing temperature in ways that nature never changed temperature before, or perhaps it did through catastrophes or volcanic eruptions or whatever. We're doing it now. Same thing with mutations to the sequence of genes. It would seem to me that perhaps the restoration of tissues, the cleaning up of tissues, the reversal of pathologies, the attack of specific cancer cells, the cleansing of the bloodstream, or the cleansing of the tissues through technology that can eliminate toxins and things like that. That in itself could be a wonderful field where we can experiment in incredible growth for 50 years, and that perhaps the more daring tampering with the actual genome should wait, and until we really know what the effects of making changes to any particular part of the chain of genes is clear in our mind, you know, what the effects of all these are. What is science saying about itself? What is medicine saying about itself? What are basically the messages we're getting as people living in the world today? We're getting this message that, you know, scientists are creating the world we live in, that they're creating the matrix we're going to have to exist in, that they're providing our habitat for us practically. And what about nature, you know? What about applying science to the restoration of our true original habitat? What about the restoration of forests, of ecosystems, of species that we've driven to the edge of extinction? There's the possibility of a non-anthropocentric concept of science, where we take life as a whole, as a unity, and begin to restore that rather than constantly promoting the indulgence of our hedonistic desires for the blue-eyed, prone to succeed baby and things like that, which could open Pandora's box. And then children, this generation of children growing with these video games that very blatantly suggest a view of technology as predatorial, militaristic, domineering, antagonistic, and war involved, and the killing of other antagonists as just a normal end in itself, you know, the road to triumph and glory. It's just, you know, it's a complicated world, you know, the whole social thing, society. Well, I guess it's a long enough video, and here I will have to cut it out. An issue of society and its fears and depopulation and chaos and pandemia and all these things. I'll have to leave that out. This is getting complicated enough. Okay, y'all. Bye.